Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here to watch some more Gundam 00. We got some comments here today, so let's see what people got to say. Up at the top, we got a comment from Veda directly. Hi Veda, how's it going on the moon? Veda says, Veda is like Tiara's mom slash father figure, and Gundam is Setsuna's ideal, so it actually makes sense that they both care about machines. Yeah, no, that checks out, right?
Oh, I believe Donatello does machines, so is that like the cheating ex-father?
Let's not consider that too much, but yeah, I can definitely see Tiara looking at Veda as their parental figure, and that's why they are far more concerned about it. If we kind of like back up a little bit to like where they were like talking about like all the things that they care most about. I think we were making fun of it a little bit when Tiara said it's like yes for Veda, while everyone's like my loved one, or Setsuna with like my Gundam.
I don't know where it comes across that they both care about machines, though, since Veda's like an artificial intelligence, and then the Gundam is just a Gundam. Like, the Gundams aren't artificially intelligent themselves.
Mhm.
Va- one is like literally here is a intelligence on the verge of being sentient, I guess. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
Veda is supposed to be sentient or not, but here's one that is almost better than human when thinking and everything. And here is a car, right? So I feel like Setsuna is closer to like a 50-year-old guy who just bought a overpriced muscle machine and
Well, I mean, the show's been selling us on Setsuna the whole time, right? Setsuna built up and earned like every bit to say like the thing he cares the most about is Gundam. He said it out loud even already. He cares the most about Gundam. So when we get the scene where everyone's talking about the thing they're fighting for, and he says Gundam, it just checks out perfectly because we spent so much time on it. We just didn't get as much time with Tiara talking about Veda and their parental
that's not what I'm
significance.
saying. I'm not saying that they don't have things that they care about. I think the show's gone to great lengths to express that all of these characters have things that they care about. I'm saying that the things that they care about are not equal. One is a midlife crisis, and the other is paramount to newfound life in the universe. So,
Suna having a mid like crisis at like 18. Oh god.
I mean,
Or
work
21 now, I think.
works out. He started his life super early, in the throes of a calamity that like destroyed his
like
country.
like any good soldier dead by 30. Yeah, that's depressing. All right, less depressing. Let's go to
Like
the
Logan's
Log A
Run.
Lung. Yeah. Log A Lung says, I do encourage pausing or going back a few seconds when you misinterpret stuff.
Pause.
Yes.
Funny. That's ironic. But no, pause one. We don't do pause reactions. I know it might work for you, but that's just not the way that we work here. Also, two, we wouldn't know that we misinterpret stuff until we get into the comment section later and you guys say, no, you were wrong. So it's hard to
we're,
do without foresight.
we're glad you're here, but you are a little late. But more surprising take, putting Mika and Suletta over Setsuna. But I guess the reactors didn't see the changes between season 1 and 2. I guess we'll wait for how the shows to spell it out for them. Transgraham is fun. No, Transam is just a release of particles from the condensers. Transam is a theory, Billy just tested it after seeing Transam. I would like to go on a tangent discussing how to hide codes in program, which is easy to do and hard to find, etc., etc.
Alright,
Look,
wait.
I just want to be real here with everyone. So I got a whole computer science degree. I program a whole lot of stuff. Most of the time, when I go back 5 minutes after I wrote something, I have no idea what it means anymore. It's actually incredibly easy to just hide something in a program. The person programming it doesn't understand it.
I figured
Yeah,
that was your thing. I
yeah,
mean,
that was my bit. What's
I've
your
done.
bit?
Well, I've done a lot of coding in like C++ format sort of things, but
Mhm.
really, really, really simplistic shit that actual coders would get like a migraine looking over my stepboard, but yeah, I know it's easy to hide shit in there, especially when you just literally write shit into it. But I want to go back to the more surprising take of putting Mika and Setsuna. I mean, Mika and Suletta over Setsuna. You
Mhm.
know, we all can have our own opinions, right? There's no definitive way to enjoy the show. When you're watching us, you're watching one take, and clearly it's not the best take because it's not aligning with
It
a lot of other people's stuff. But my point is that, yeah, no, we noticed the changes between season 1 and 2, and the show can spell it out as much as we like. If we don't like it, we don't like it. Or, not
Theta
to say we don't like it, if we prefer something over it, we prefer those other things.
Theta, I think you found it. Our new tagline: Stone face reactions, not the best take. Our next comment here is from Advice Admiral, who says, well, I don't think Ian wanted to try and take the GN drive's black box apart. It's likely the data was encrypted beyond what Ian or anyone else could hack. Same with the twin drive system.
Again, this is just a train of thought that everyone's repeating. I just don't think makes much sense. This is a crew that made the second and third generation Gundams.
Mhm.
How do they not know how these things work?
I think what it comes down to, though, is that this is more like back explanation, right? It wasn't demonstrated in the show. Why didn't they do this before? Just like, oh yeah, no, we just decided to do it now. That's all. Sometimes you just need it in the show.
It still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They're like, Veda
Uh,
did this thing, and then here's the people that actually built it. So, how do they not know what every circuit and what every servo, how do they not know what every single piece meant? Because they not only did they make the second generation, they designed and built the third generation.
yep. I mean, sometimes you can put things together and not know how it works.
They designed them. They didn't just put them together. They didn't get like a gunpla kit and put them together just following instructions. They designed them and then built them.
Mhm. Up next we have High Priest, who says, they're all just being coy about Lyle/Lock-On being part of Carathon, which he technically hasn't told them yet. It's an open secret. Yeah, they basically play it that way the entire series, don't they? Like, no one ever seems to think otherwise, but they also just never mention it. No comments on that one, Theta?
No, not really. I mean, I don't remember where he was part of Carathon. So,
Since
I
the
know.
beginning.
Cool. I don't remember what it was said.
Yep. Oh god, you must have missed like the entire second season.
What, are you telling me that every episode he's been going around like, hey, by the way, I'm part of Carathon to the
Yeah, like half
audience?
of them.
I don't remember it. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
You know you can forget something without having missed anything, right? I just want to throw
I know,
down.
I'm living proof.
I want to throw down right
I'm
here
living
that if you
proof.
start mocking me for forgetting stuff, I'm just gonna double down on mocking you when you forget stuff. We gotta be understanding of one another's foibles, Griff. We're never going to simmer down on our back and forth.
I'm gonna remain properly simmered here as we move into Joss Phoenix, who says, honestly, Billy Category might be the best mechanic in the world. He reproduced the Trans Am just to stick it to his ex.
Also, notably, he figured out how something worked by looking at it. Versus Ian and crew, who designed the damn thing, it can't figure out how it works.
Well, love scorned is definitely a motivator, right?
I mean, it's hard
Um,
to tell. Did he do it to get back at Sumeragi, or did he do it to help his friend Graham?
Both of those are pretty good motivators. Billy's a good character. It's a shame we don't get any more of him. It ain't his story. JT comments, Graham is a popular character in the Gundam universe. When you make him pilot other mobile suits in game, he will hijack the signature attack technology in his own weird name like Transgram. Oh gosh, it's canon, Theta. It's canon.
Well, no, it's. I mean,
Transgram is canon.
it's canon in this show. but obviously it's not canon in other games that aren't canon.
Look, if we come up with a stupid idea and then that stupid idea is real, it's canon. It's a canon event, Theta. You can't change it.
What you just said is if we come up with a stupid idea and that stupid idea is canon, then it's canon. That makes no sense as a statement of fact.
If it gets put into a thing.
It's
And here
not.
it is.
It's not Griff. It can't possibly be put into a thing. This came out 11 years ago. Something we say now cannot retroactively find its way into a show that was made before we started saying stuff about it.
Hey, it happened in Gundam Universe.
Tell me, Griff, is Gundam Universe canon?
It is now.
I'd
It is
say
for
it's
us.
not.
It's canon event. Can't change it. Just how the story goes, Theta. I'm sorry, I'm making Into the Spider-Verse references, and I'm pretty sure you haven't seen it.
I've seen the first movie. I haven't seen the second one.
Second one's real good.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's also 2.5 hours, but Pale
Not a
Fisher
problem.
is our next commenter, who says, at age 27, Hercury is the closer romanization. Hercules is spelt in katakana that I can't read, but for Hercury, they removed one symbol for Zoo or S. So we are at least
I
getting the
wasn't
accurate.
reading it along with you, so you said zoo. I thought ZOO. Wait, what?
Yeah, unfortunately this comment's a little visual. Go ahead and go check out our video, read the comment yourself to see the katakana. At 3916, they say, in Japanese, the word Graham, Graham said, are,
Graham.
sorry, Kirisute Gomen, which can be represented in two different ways. It is an expression for Japan's feudal era that means authorization to cut and leave the victim's body. It describes the right of samurai to kill people from the lower class if they perceive an offense to their honor. The samurai have to explain to government officials when they committed Kirisudigomen, but if they're on good terms with officials, would be on their side anyway. In my opinion, that's a good parallel to other things that have happened in this episode and some previous ones. The A-Laws kill the commoners indiscriminately because the world government is on their side. That is a really good parallel. I'm very glad you brought that up.
I'm super thrown off because the thing that we're reading this from, all the previous comments have basically cut it off right there at the edge of the screen for me. And this one has the quotation marks right there at the victim's body, period, quotation mark. I thought it was the end. And it just kept going. I was like, wait a second. Scroll
There's
off.
more.
Yeah, and then every comment below this scrolls off to the edge. So that's like, oh, wow.
But yeah, no, I think the parallel is like highly valid. The A-Laws have literally created an entirely new class and have put everyone on a lower class thereby. Which is exactly what the innovators wanted, because they also want to be a higher class that can just kill anyone. So it's a good parallel, especially since we have our resident weeb just going in on it. Up next we have Advice Admiral, who says, well, the three generations of Gundam spanned around 20 years, 2287 to 2307. Late 2080s, early 2090s, Zero Gundam was developed and tested. Around 2302 was the last test of this mobile suit. Personal headcanon on this, Ribbons piloted Zero Gundam in 2301 in a test and found Setsuna. Mid-2390s was around the time the second generation Gundams were introduced. They were in testing for a few years before the incident killing Felt's parents ended those tests. 2302. Dynames, I think, was the first third generation Gundam rolled out. Curious rolled out 2303 question mark. Virtue/Nautilus was 2305 due to its trial system. It was mentioned somewhere that Exia took the longest to develop since it was around based around the Seven Sword system. So Exia was rolled out in 2306, a year before the interventions. Most of that is my headcanon. The orbital elevators were built around 10 to 30 years prior. Next episode explains and shows a battle of the Solar Wars. There were 5 to 6 Solar Wars over them. HRL had its elevator activated in 2397 because they had its 10th anniversary back in 2307 in the first episode of the series. No info on La Tower, AU, or the Union Tower construction dates, but it's likely that they were back in 2290 for AU and 28 to 80 for Union, trying for the orbital elevator idea. Aeola Scheinberg theorized about the orbital elevator system around 200 years prior.
People were thinking about orbital elevators well before Scheinberg.
I believe even 200 years before us right now, they've thought about orbital elevators, but
I also like La Tower, otherwise known as the Tower.
mobile suits themselves were probably invented around the time the elevators went up, just a theory. Uh, but just to add to the orbital elevators, I believe the classic quote is, orbital elevators will happen about 10 years after everyone stops laughing at them. But we're gonna keep laughing at them because we're watching this show.
I mean, it's not about laughing, it's about having something with enough tensile strength to be able to withstand the forces involved.
Right, right.
There's nothing that exists right now that can do that.
Right, thus it is a semi-mocked idea because it is a physical impossibility. But the theory is that if everyone stops thinking about it purely as impossible and puts the time to researching it, maybe they'd find
I
something.
mean, it's not impossible. There's people that are, working on making stuff with the strength. There's constantly work being done in the field of strengthening materials. We're finding materials with new strength. I mean, just look at the field of ballistics research. If you
hmm
need any proof that people are constantly working on this shit.
But I think the timeline more or less lines up. Uh, except for maybe specifically when Setsuna ends up seeing the Zero Gundam. Maybe that doesn't line up perfectly, but for the rest of it, it's like, yeah, no, I think it could check out. They just finish the Gundams, they get them all grouped together, and then they send them out as soon as they're ready. You got any problems with that, Theta? Like all this fan theory we got?
My only, I would say my concern, but it's not concern. It's literally the opposite of a concern. My thing is that even if you are wrong, not much changes for me, so I'm willing to just go with it. It's
There
not,
you
it's
go.
not like when I went to my rabbit hole for which were Mercury dates and ages, right? Where like
Uh-huh.
one thing changes everything, right? Well, if
Yeah.
Suletta isn't this old, then at this age she wouldn't have done this, and then everything goes out of the whack, right? But a year here or there on any of these numbers doesn't really change the show because nothing is dependent on Satsuna is this old, and if he wasn't this old at this time, then this couldn't have happened then. Nothing is so wedged in to the dates that it can't be like wiggled.
Yeah, the only thing would be the specific time Setsuna saw the Zero Gundam and the time when he's piloting it.
Again, we
That's
don't
literally it for
know
this
we
series.
don't know how old he was when he was fighting that fight. So, like I
hmm
said, there's plenty of wiggle room because we're not set in like Suletta has to be this old to get into high school. If she's
Right,
not
right.
this age, she couldn't get in, and the wiggle room there is a matter of 5 to 6 years. So that's problematic versus this. It could have been anything.
Just absolute side note, I still love that one of our early theories was like, hold up, Suletta is like 23 years old and is pretending to be a 14-year-old going to high school. Is this problematic? Let's find out. And we
One,
just rolled with that for a minute.
one. I mean, that wasn't really a theory. One, that's also the basis of many comedies. So
Mhm.
but two, that wasn't a theory. That was here's all the information we have. It's either this Setsuna is actually older than she is supposed to be, or it's this. That's not airy. It wasn't a matter of us rolling with a theory. It was just I threw out numbers at you and said it's either this or this. I think it's this. That.
All right. Up next, we have Long Hey Long, who says, next episode is good. Well, the formation is over the entire African continent, so yeah. The reason the whole thing wouldn't collapse, next episode. I take it that was probably from the episode just before it collapsed.
Here again, I've mentioned this a number of times. Um, we're reading it obviously, but context is key, right?
Mhm.
We are so removed from the things that we've said so far that we have no longer have context for the things you're responding to. So you say yes and then this, and it's like it would be helpful if you added what we said. Or if you think we're wrong about something, quote us, right? You said, blah, 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 blah. Well, you were fucking wrong. Just give us a little bit of context.
Hey, at least they were right. The collapse episode was pretty good. Memento Mori. They had the plans and money, so they rebuilt it, and Ribbons controls A-Laws. And the Union, HRL, AU can't build a secret space laser because it's on international territory. That, and they no longer have the power to do it. So, rebuilding the one that blew up makes less sense than having a second one already backed up, right? That's what I'm thinking.
It
What do you think about
depends on how much of it was destroyed. I mean, it would make a lot of sense to repair a thing if the
it?
cost of repairing it is less than building a new one. I think what you're arguing is the whole charge extra for one and secretly build two. You know, the whole, oh,
Mhm.
what, you think the White House is spending $700 on a golden toilet? No, you know, that whole Independence Day thing, the guy on the plane. It's like, no, spending extra money all over the place and building secret stuff with the actual costs left rollover. You know, you would think it's either that or there's corrupt officials just pocketing money. Who would know? But yeah, I would say if it's more cost effective to repair a thing, than to
Mhm.
build a new one, assuming that it's going to be too much to repair.
I do think that just the fact that it's international territory and it would be illegal would not have stopped the Union, HRL, or AAU from doing it if they could. But my guess is that they probably couldn't do it in the first place.
Well, my
It's literally
interpretation,
Ribbon's
my
technology.
interpretation is that the memento mori is itself illegal. So doing
Mhm.
something illegal in an illegal space to do it doesn't much
Yep.
matter.
Yeah.
You can't put your
What's a law to a
you
Ribbons?
can't put your super weapon here. That's illegal. Well, but the super weapon's legal? No. So no problem then. Two wrongs make a right, right?
There's no fighting here. This is the war room. And of course, our last comment is from Veda, who says, innovators are Veda
No innovates.
or innovades are Veda's terminals with certain uh, coadjuvant roles to fulfill. I think most of them are puppets or real life counterparts of computer models Veda created to test Aeola's theories, and that's why they're a conflict between innovators. In other words, Veda is likely testing theories using its terminals as proxy. Tierra and Regine at some point represent Aeola's original ideas to restrict Innovade's roles to solely support, while Ribbons plays the roles of devil's advocate and denies that mankind is able to achieve Aeola's ideals by themselves, as he is trying to give Innovades the protagonist role. In short, I think Ribbons exists because Veda has doubts about mankind being able to fulfill its role in the plan, but that's stupid because Ribbons would never be able to get the last mission done. The dialogues to come slash future dialogues. So that's very interesting, and it has me suddenly thinking the last episode of this, we're gonna go meet Veda, and Veda's gonna be God.
Well,
That's the
it's
motif we're
painting
gonna
it
have.
as though I can't remember the name of the author. It saved my life. I've been trying to think of it ever since the moment it hit me in the middle of this
Mhm.
comment. Who wrote the Let There Be Light short story? Science fiction author.
Don't know.
I think the computer's name's like CompuVac or something like that.
That one doesn't ring a bell.
Just a series of
That could just be an Asimov one.
Asimov. That is it. It is an Isaac Asimov one. I could
Yeah,
not
if
remember
in
his
doubt,
name.
it's Asimov. He wrote
Well, no,
everything.
I just couldn't remember the name of the author at all. I'm thinking like Ben Bova, Greg Bear, all the big greats at the time, but I couldn't think past that. No, it's a series of questions asked to a supercomputer of its age, and the computer just keeps getting more and more complex as time goes on, asking it how to defeat the heat death of the universe. And it's
Hmm.
like they ask it when it's the size of a room and it doesn't know, and they ask it when it's the size of a whole building, and slowly it's growing. It's the size of a continent, and now it's taking up its own planet, and now it's occupying the space in like the fifth dimension, where we're still all three-dimensional creatures.
Hmm.
And eventually, the heat death of the universe comes, and the computer is the only thing left, and it is God, because that's what it says. Let there be light, and there was. So the idea of Veda as the concept of we're all just parts of the universe trying to understand itself, that whole thing.
Right, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that Veda is just humanity trying to understand itself because it's beyond humanity.
Hmm.
It just, I don't know, it's a crazy thought, but here's my problem. One, I I like it as its own story. Like if that had been presented to us from the very beginning, like the very first
Hmm.
episode was us in a dark room and like a computer screen blinking, and it's like Veda thinking thoughts to itself, and then we introduced to the human problem. I would be great. That would be great as an answer here. But if that's one shit introduced in a manga that's never been told to us now, hate it. Two, if it ends that way, kind of hate it. I mean, I like the theory still, but I don't like that it would be presented to us here the two last episodes. That would be annoying as hell.
Here,
Otherwise, again, I like it as its own story, not as part of this story.
let me propose you the worst possible ending. We find out that Veda was inside Scheinberg's snow globe the entire time.
No, the worst ending would be this was all a beta simulation, and then we go in the movie and it starts back at episode one again with a new
Oh god.
simulation.
But the thing I like here is that this it doesn't solve the like Scheinberg Sonato's gambit, but it gives us a different angle to work with to understand why things are as they are. And if it's Scheinberg just made a computer to solve the problem, the computer's running and is an active character, and at some point the computer goes, I don't know the answer, so I'm going to do both and see what happens. Everything makes a lot of sense.
There is a concept, in at least the Orion's ARM user group
Mhm.
of computers that are so powerful that what they do is they use their computational power. They get their computational power from sub universes, and that
Mhm.
they create a universe that is just entirely there to power them through calculations, and they can make as many sub universes as they need to solve problems, and that this entire show would then just be a sub universe recreating the life of the universe that it's trying to actively simulate, and that
Mhm.
we would then pull back and see that none of this has happened yet, and that Scheinberg is standing over a console watching simulations play out like the Architect and the Matrix, when you see all of the other Neos that have come before him have already done their thing. That Scheinberg is actively watching a wall of many
Mhm.
different Gundam 00 series that are all having different outcomes. Like one Setsuna's dying, another one Graham is Setsuna,
Steinberg
another
turns
one,
around, I am the architect. Yeah.
yeah, just all different shit. That's
I
that's that's the play out that I'm getting from this comment.
I think the last thing on my mind here is that I want to say a computer that creates mini universes to solve its problem is a halting problem nightmare.
Well, no,
How do you know when you're in an infinite loop when you're creating an infinite number of universes?
well, the thing idea is that you're also keeping track of each universe, and you're also shaping each universe. You might, I don't know what the term for it is, like computronium or something like that. Some material that's exactly perfect for running
Mhm.
computations on, and you make a whole universe out of it, and then you use the heat death of that universe to power new computations from other things. The idea wouldn't be. I mean, this is from an aspect of Orion's Arm where you have AI gods basically that they're so intelligent they don't operate within the universe anymore, or they're powered by suns. Orion's Arm is like a super out there fantasy of
Mhm.
what happens when you just let a bunch of authors create a universe of high-tech shit. Like, Terran Trade Authority, basically.
Right. All right, then. So that would be all of the comments for today. Let's go ahead and talk about the episode, because last time was For the Future, where the duel between Setsuna and Graham ends with Setsuna emerging victorious. However, he chooses not to finish off Graham and leaves as he tells them to live for the future. Setsuna and the others review Wang Lumei's information and determines that a fierce battle against A-Laws awaits them on the journey to Veda's core at L2. While the Gundam's superior weaponry is able to counter the A-Law's vast fleets, the A-Law's particle disruptors remove their advantage. The arrival of Karathon and the coup d'etat forces under Kati Madigan's command throws the A-Law's fleets into disarray. Meanwhile, Ribbons attempts to intervene in Regine's plans by reading his thoughts, but ends up taking a bullet to the head when she shoots him. So, Ribbons is dead. Long live Ribbons.
Oh, they did clarify it then. Regine is a woman.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
No, I thought they clarified that like in the dancing episode.
I thought it was very,
Because Tiara is specifically male coded and then disguises himself by dressing female coded and then meets his counterpart who is doing the opposite of that in a very hilarious turn of events.
no, I thought they weren't coded at all. I thought they just went every which way they wanted.
Uh, well, when I say coded, I mean the way the writers and artists are portraying them.
That's what I'm saying as well. That they're not portraying them in any way. They show up however they want to show up.
Mm-hmm.
That you're saying
there are leanings. Though.
You are saying that they're having a default stance, and I'm saying I have not read them as ever having a default stance.
There is also, incidentally, a guy who had to write this summary on Wikipedia and use his best fit and had to differentiate two characters and didn't want to do they shot them.
Here's the problem with
because
that.
then who would it be? Because that would actually be very confusing.
Well, there's only two people in the room.
Yeah.
Also, my problem with that is how fervent the fans of the show are. And as you just said, that's written on like a wiki article, which can be in itself edited, which means that this is the result of who knows how many wars over the edits.
It could still be ongoing to this day.
So anything that's stuck that this long, I would think is probably true. That apparently Regina identifies as a woman. And again, there wasn't any debate that Ribbons got shot in the head. The debate is that there's more Ribbons. I think there's more Ribbons to go. There's a Christmas of Ribbons to be had.
Right, the A-Laws are defeated, we have the Ribbon Army, and we're gonna go see Veda, and we're gonna see what happens.
I think the saddest part of these things, to me, is when I feel like I've hit comedy gold and I get nothing.
I think it must have gone over my head.
I think a Christmas of Ribbons was comedy gold.
Look, we're just gonna tie this up in a neat little bow now, okay?
I think it's even sadder that I'm the one who has to comment on my own bad jokes, which is the hallmark of a bad joke, is that when you have to explain it yourself, a hallmark, much like Christmas, a Christmas of Ribbons, Griff, laugh!
It just color me lost in my own world sometimes. I'm thinking 10 steps ahead, but not any of the 9 previous steps to that. So, Theta, what are your expectations going into this? Is there anything on your mind?
Well, I do have one expectation.
Yeah?
It's a Christmas of Ribbons. I know, it seems like I'm just repeating a joke now, but it's literally what I was just talking about, expecting for the show. I get to repeat it again.
So then, before we go ahead and unbox our ribbons, let's go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all sports channel, just a little bit extra.
Click the link down below, join the Discord. Let us know a good pun based on how many ribbons you have. Oh, it's that singer from Fifth Element.
They've been here the whole time. Always for like the slightly eerie stuff.
Can't wait for the rock part to hit.
I would go absolutely crazy if they just transitioned like that.
これでイオリア計画のすべてが僕のものに。
それは傲慢だよ。
I do love Regine's completely earnest laugh there.
I would die and give up if he was wearing a Santa Claus outfit.
バカな。
Impossible.
なぜ。
僕の意識はベーダと直接つながっている。肉体はただの器にしか過ぎない。
そんなことが。
It's that episode of Cowboy Bebop, Brain Scratch.
言ったはずだよ。
We turned into a whole series.
上位種だと。
It was a quick draw. I told you.
No, the last one was not a quick draw. The last one did not have a second gun.
Oh, never mind. It's Allie just spoiling it all.
ハローズさんはヤバそうだ。そろそろ俺の出番かな。
期待しているよ。
You think Ali is a innovate now?
He's gotta be now. I think it makes sense for, like, where everything is going.
大佐、ハローズの機関が落ちました。
よし、敵艦隊を分断させる。モビルスーツ隊、艦隊中央に攻撃を集中せよ。
Oh, that is stock laser blaster sound right there.
Only a matter of time before Manigan and Sumeragi meet up. Old friends that they were.
Oh, yeah, they're on the same team now, too, so they're gonna be having fun.
That's what I'm saying. Thank God we've color-coded our factions.
That sometimes it's important. What are you gonna do? Camouflage in space?
I don't know, transponder codes?
I figure they just have those inherently.
Why did we keep building these? Stormtroopers can't hit anything.
I know, it's literally the Star Wars blaster sound. It keeps getting me every time they keep using it now.
We ran out of money here at the end for Foley.
They already had laser beam sounds, though.
敵艦隊分断されていきます。
この戦術。
いや、正面中央の艦隊に攻撃を集中して突破口を切り開いて。
了解だ。リーダー。
え？
They're literally heading right at you and you can't target them. We're not seeing blasts like going off of the GN field, it's all around it. You'd be better off aiming to miss.
At some point, their ECM is just better than their shields, I guess. Otherwise, it'd just be silly.
これは
連邦軍からの通信。
やっぱりマニキ。
久しぶりだな、駆除。
It's weird to identify them as the Federation forces.
あなたが。
勘違いしてもらっては困る。我々は
Considering the Federation forces are still firing on
お
you.
前たちを利用したまでのこと。この戦いを終えた後、改めてお前たちの罪を問わせてもらう。
Still terrorists, but, you know, we got problems.
全部隊に告げる。即座に回避運動を取れ。来るぞ。攻撃が来る。まがまがしい光が。
An ominous ray of light. An Amuro ray?
Memento Mori 3.
Now it's bigger, it looks like. Different color, too.
Gosh, dog, you can not decide where you want to be, Bill, huh? Go, baby.
And once again, another massive energy beam misses everybody important.
Look at this little troublemaker. Yeah, she's a good girl. What do you think about the laser beams, Puddin? She's got no comment.
You ever mentioned the breed before?
I don't remember.
But then.
Adorable. I'm not a dog breed kind of person. But
Of
the
which
innovators
I
are.
am one of now.
戦闘が
Oh, see, they even managed to miss this ship.
でもさっきの大きな光は
Laser, I bet. I bet it was a laser. Best guess.
第2射操車準備開始
Massive control room. Tiny little monitoring screen.
It's just the TV for the rec room.
Okay, 3 more shots. What did they use the other 2 shots on?
Well, they just used one.
光学
Yeah,
迷彩
they had 2 used
Maybe they were
shots.
test shots.
They
I don't know.
have 6 shots total. They used 2 shots already, apparently, and they pulled out the 3rd one that they just fired.
カタロン輸送艦一隻合沈モビルスーツも20機以上が大破した模様アローズ艦隊撤退を始めたようです
おい、あれはなんだ
If there's one thing the ALOs know what to do, it's retreat.
あれは
The
Reality
cloaked
is
battle
glitching.
station. That's the thing they were talking about last episode. It's where Veda is, right?
Yup.
This is, again, Gurren Lagann levels of shit.
They brought their own moon with them.
No, they have an orbital elevator from the moon to this thing. I swear there was just this tying thing between them. Now it's missing.
これが奴らの
コロニー型外宇宙航行母艦ソレスタルビーイングイオリアは2世紀以上も前に予見していた未知なる種との遭遇を来るべき対話を GN ド
The
ラゴン
aliens, he's talking about the aliens.
イノベーターそしてこの船こそ人類の希望
Well, then it should be called Babylon 5, not Celestial Being.
人類を滅亡から救うまさに箱舟だよ
And now you're gonna destroy it.
So wait, we're
Humanity's
abandoning Earth?
各艦に通達します我々ソレスタルビーイングはこれより敵大型母艦に進攻し
We, Celestial Being, will now begin to attack Celestial Being.
Yeah, she had to clarify that for everyone.
これまで協力してい
Not every character's up to date.
感謝と戦死された方々に哀悼の意を表します
リサ
ダッセトレミンの進路を敵母艦へ
了解敵母艦へ進路修正
さあ始めよ
ベーダを奪還最悪破壊してでも敵母艦の動きを止めるのよ
う来るべき未来のために
Ah, they're monologuing at each other without knowing it.
みんな行きましょう
私たちが世界を変えたことへの償いをそのけじめをつけましょうイノベーターの支配から世界を解放し再び世界を変えましょう未来のために
Have we not
GN フィールド最大
just circled around on ourselves now?
What do you mean?
ラストミッションスタート
That we now have to defeat Scheinberg's plan? We, the people who are doing Scheinberg's plan?
本艦は侵入ルートを探しつつ前進
Have we not just circled about like
台を叩いて
We're now biting our own tail.
It's kind of what our comment went over there with Veda just doing everything and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Veda gave all the best toys to one group.
I don't know. I think the big old asteroid colony ship seems pretty rad
Because
too.
you haven't learned from all the battleships, Griff. The bigger it is, the more useless it is against ants.
大型砲塔がこちらを捉えました。ラッセ
任せろ。
Only took one mobile suit to destroy the moon in Gurren Lagann, huh? Doesn't matter how big your beam is, we'll just dodge it every time. God, this feels so familiar. Like I've seen it in some other show. No, this literally was Gurren Lagann. Like, every little crater on the moon opened up and it was like a laser turret of some sort. I mean, I realize it's not the moon,
なか
but
なかやるね。
we're basically doing the same thing.
出番まだ？
ガガ部隊で十分さ。君たちはとっておき
The
にさせてもらう
Gaga
よ
Squadron.
キリング。
了解。進行ルート上にある敵粒子砲57%排除です。新たなモビルスーツ部隊が来たです。
Ah, the Ribbon Army, it's time. I guess every Gundam has to end with a big drone warfare scene, huh?
あの形状まさか
自らの技術で滅びる
No?
がいい。
Oh. Wing
ソレスタ
didn't.
ルビーイング
Wing definitely had an entire drone army arc.
Yeah, but didn't end with it. Oh, they all have Trans Am, why not?
トランザムだとこの数は
Yeah, 100 of those trans-amming at you. It's over, right?
No, because we're the protagonists.
敵モビルスーツ
I
こちらに向かって
they could come at them with the power of a million supernovas, and I bet it wouldn't matter.
敵を集中して
Oh, they're Trans-Am missiles is what they really are. Okay.
Potomos without the P. Look out.
They've already lost. This is over.
Like realizing you can go to hyperspace right in front of an enemy cruiser and it'll destroy everything. What's the point of Trans Am if anything firing normally can still hit it? What happened to all
I
the
guess they just
blinking
want you to
around
go
and
very
shit?
fast. This is definitely a preposterous level of missiles and things firing. I love it.
Once again, as I said before, threat level unknown, so no expectations, and I'm not on the edge of my seat because there's no threat that I can figure out.
早く任務を遂行しろ
無限後方敵です。
Oh, we're about to lose every side character.
手を出すな。
No, remember he's immortal. You keep forgetting who he is, but it's in the name.
大好きです。カディ。
Oh, he's gonna blow up. There it is.
You remember when that happened to Graham and Setsuna?
Shh, we don't talk about it.
艦船用ドックの入り口です。
He'll show up at the end. He's the immortal Patrick Kassar. By the way, what happened to all the ones that got through their shields and literally impacted the ship?
Nah, no damage.
As I said, it's an incomprehensible threat, thus I feel no threat. Do love the guy on the guitar, though.
Oh yeah, he's owning it.
敵母艦の構造をスキャンしてベータ捜索に入ります。お願い。
俺はオーガンダムに行く。
All I need now is for someone to start playing Final Fantasy X and Sin attacks.
Meanwhile, Ian's about to go out in the Zero Gundam. That's gonna be great.
モビルスーツによる白兵戦を仕掛けてでもベーダを取り戻すつもりか。しかし
I mean, Ribbons at this point has to be many levels of delusional to not be worried about anything, given that your infinite number of space lasers have lost, your undefeatable missile barrage is lost.
And given the automatons have lost in the past. But we got Luis here.
The only one with bendable lasers, however that works. This is the face of a man that doesn't give a fuck.
I do like that Ribbons has specifically planned ahead of time for everyone's most traumatic Gundam fights.
Didn't you know? Ribbons wrote Gundam Double.
Oh yeah, Sumer Army's loaded now. Look out, world.
And by aces, I mean the group that's never won a fight. See, look, they're dodging. Why couldn't the missiles?
Well, that's one loss.
They're just so ineffective, I'm just gonna jump in front of them.
There we go, 2 losses, come on.
Look, if Picard could look badass with a gun, I can look badass with a gun. I'm still technically a Federation officer, it won't shoot me.
Billy just wanted to do it himself.
So
All
weird because
what do you do now?
we haven't seen them even thinking about one another ever since the moment she left his room. Weird change in the music though.
We're about to go into the mental realm once more, end all the fighting.
Disagree, but whatever.
He's the heart, he has to say it.
I mean, arguably a future one by fighting is the most future of all the futures. All the other futures aren't earned.
あれはま
They
さ
were
か
given to you.
人類は試されている。滅びか、それとも再生か。
Man, this is all ending like a Mutants and Masterminds game would.
ティエリア・アーデ。激闘が続き、命が消えていく中、
None of the good ones
ガン
though.
ザムライザーの先行が新たな世界の産声を放つ。次回、ビヨンド。刹那、革新者となる。
He already was. He did the eye thing and everything.
Well, I guess officially, like he's been turning the whole time.
What,
right?
he's gonna walk into the room and then Ribbon's gonna be like, "You're an innovator now." It's gonna be like official. Here's your ribbon.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, ah, I see your force powers are as great as mine. I mean, uh, what's Sierra versus Ribbons gonna be like? I mean, I guess Ribbons has already declared it's like it doesn't matter if a body dies. That doesn't matter to him.
I don't know, I guess it depends
So,
on how
that
many
goes
of them there
nowhere.
are.
But we can't have like our final Return of the Jedi lightsaber duel or anything with Ribbons because again, he doesn't care if he dies. It's not like he does much anyway.
Again, my problem lies in... I don't know. There's no good way to put this out there without people hating me, so fuck it, whatever. We had one cannon shot, and it destroyed everybody we didn't care about, right?
Yeah.
That's how we get those people out of the picture. Everyone without names, everybody we don't care about, any loose ends that we no longer have to animate. Boom, one cannon shot, they're all dead. Thankfully, everybody that we do care about has names, or we've seen in a couple of scenes attached to the main characters. We're just to the left of the beam, so it's fine. Literally, it's how it happened. Rewatch it. Anyway, so now we have all those people that are perfectly fine, and the show decides it wants to ramp up. So now what?
Mhm.
We have, in combination to the super lasers, an infinite array of laser cannons that are attached to this asteroid ship. Do they hit or hurt anybody? No. They've destroyed 57% of them inside the first half of the episode, no problem. Okay, what's the next big step? Trans-Am missiles, or actually Trans-Am mobile suits that can transform into flight mode, like we've seen in other things. So basically missiles. Except they can't do anything any of our Trans-Am Gundams can do, like dodge. They're the Gohans of Trans-Am technology. They never learn to dodge. All the ones that we see puncturing through the GN fields don't hit and don't cause any damage. Any of them that get around behind to attack the unshielded stuff, a single mobile suit took out. So, the threat, not really big. Seemed to be big, turned out to be not big. Effectively, ants on your picnic. So, really the show tries to ramp up, but since the threat is an unknown level, it is impossible to figure out, so at no point am I edge of the seat trying to, like, oh my god, things are at risk. Because before the episode's even over, the threat is already dealt with.
Right. It's very much like a hit point situation. It's either you're fine or you're dead. And honestly, until they're dead, they're all just perfectly fine. The Talamos got hit by like how many of the Trans-Am missiles? They just chugged along as if nothing happened.
Well, apparently I got hit by none of them. Apparently, they cannot be hit by random missiles. The Trans-Am missiles can be struck by normal missiles and destroyed. Again, it's like if we were playing a tabletop game and you're the only person on the field and you're surrounded by 50 NPCs and all I do is spend my turn killing all the NPCs behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, my turn's over. Now it's your turn. Okay. I see what you're doing, GM. It's kind of ruining the excitement of the scene.
I guess like if we go from like the physical aspect of it to like the story aspect of it, what do we got there? We have Ribbons, who is basically just continuing to try to manipulate everyone by putting them up against their most tragic fights, I guess.
The only way I'm going to be drawn back into this
Yeah.
is if Ribbons can put his mind in somebody else's mind, right? And he's like somebody else that's connected to Veda. He can be like, I'm out of here, and puts his brain into like Setsuna is an innovator now, and he takes over Setsuna's body, and then Setsuna turns around and starts doing evil shit. Like that would, it's like, oh, that's a credible threat. I can see this happening now. Now I'm back to figuring out what's going on. But as it stands, Ribbons is the Führer in his bunker, just waiting to shoot himself in the head, because I have no idea. There's no way he's going to win this.
Well, we already have the setup for it. Saji literally said, like, we can't win by fighting because that's not going to be a great outcome. And wouldn't you know it, they already have the tool in their pocket to make that happen. Setsuna's going to activate. Everyone is going to be drawn into like the mental world, and the fighting is going to stop. He's going to have some confrontation with Ribbons there, and that confrontation is going to be a talk, a dialogue.
I don't see why that's going to change anything, though, because Ribbons already sees himself as better than humanity. He also is capable of things in that realm that other people aren't. It seems more likely that it's going to turn into, God, what was that X-Men movie with, what's his name? The first mutant.
Apocalypse?
Yeah, Apocalypse. When Apocalypse is entering Professor X's mind, and he's like shrinking Professor X down. Like, Professor X can do anything in his mind, but he's making Professor X stuck in his wheelchair still, and then growing massive, and he's hitting Professor X in the place where he's supposed to be the strongest.
Right. But, like, the way this show has set up that kind of scene, it's going to be, Ribbons is going to be saying something along the lines of, like, oh, humanity's not worthy, they're never gonna learn, and then Setsuna goes, nah, just look at that, I solved everything, and Ribbons gonna go, oh no, you're right, and then that's how he's defeated somehow.
Okay, I
Because
understand.
that also leads into the...
I understand the dichotomy of my problem is that I also know how this show works, and the good guys are just going to win. And the counter to me is always, well, what, you want the bad guys to win, or what do you want, right? And it's like, I think if I was writing it, the show just wouldn't end. The show would just keep going because I'd constantly either find a balance or find a way for things to get worse for both sides over and over again until either there was nothing left or however One Piece ends, right? Because I would just keep going. Because for me, constant good guy victory is boring to watch. At the same time, obviously, shows like this don't let the bad guys win. So,
I think that is secretly the highest praise you've given this show, where you've literally just said you want to watch an infinite amount more of it. You want it to go on forever.
I mean, that's not praise.
Because that would also satisfy you.
Well, I could take this world, right? And I feel like I could do more with it. But the show as it's going right now has literally, last episode, we got rid of all of the bad guy side characters with one shot. Basically. One fight, all the bad guy side characters are gone. Don't have to worry about that. This episode, we had one super blast. We got rid of all the good guy side characters. Now, all we have... You see, understand what I'm getting at? My problem is that our focus has been, hey, here's a super weapon, no more loose ends there. Hey, here's a super weapon, no more loose ends there. And that's all we've done, right? We're not in the narrative anymore. We're just wrapping up. Somebody in the writer's room went, hey, what about this? Well, I got a beam here. What if I just write that we have a 6-pack of lasers? They fired 2 already. We'll just say they're on the 3rd one, and we have 2 more.
Don't cut yourself short. Get the whole 12-pack of lasers, man. Come on.
Well, I'm not making that up. We saw the reload room.
I know.
For some reason, they were 2 down already, and then they took out the 3rd one that they just fired and loaded in the next one. So technically, they have 1 blast left.
They're gonna pop the super weapon speed loader here.
I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. I mean, my thought would be that that thing still exists when the movie comes around and we have one shot left for the aliens. And then that's going to be what shows that the aliens are too strong to use this on. That they're so far advanced of us that our weapon that killed off fleets of ships is
But we have a
nothing to them.
dialogue with them to go to, Theta.
Yeah, I know. That's what the thing said at the beginning of the episode. Well, he like threw that in there. Something other is gonna come, and then there's a dialogue, and then and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just so disappointed, and I know this is gonna be the hatred moment for the commenters because this is clearly the most action that the show has gotten. But I'm only seeing that action as a way to cut narrative, right? If you consider all the side characters as the fat, this action sequence of the last 2 episodes has just been the trimming of the fat of the show so that we can now just get to the steak. And now, if you think the combat is the height of the show, you are living it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
This is your time to shine. But if you want character-driven narrative, this is like just the worst. This is I mean, I understand that there are bits in between, like, oh, I understand now that Mannequin is leading the Federation forces, and now we're getting a back and forth that after this is all over, I'm still going to have to pay for my crimes, and I understand the tactics she's using, and oh my god, here's Billy, who's holding a grudge for way too long, but it's something at least. I mean, I don't like that the fact that Billy has been holding a grudge since she left the room with Setsuna, but, and like, we haven't gotten at least 2 or 3 more episodes of him, like, at the bar or something. You know, assumedly, as the comments have pointed out,
He's never quite been a focus.
assumedly, as the comments are pointing out, he's been working on Graham's mobile suit for this reason, but it's not like he's been talking about it. And I don't give a shit, commenters who are going to say, it's in the manga. Fuck the manga, right? I'm going to say that right now. I'm still going to read it, though. I'm still going to read the manga. But fuck the manga when it comes to the show reaction. If you couldn't put it on the screen in the show, don't give a shit. I'll read the book later. I'm talking about the show right now. That means I don't care about technical specifications. I don't care about his backstory that was written 500 pages deep in a book somewhere. If it's not on the screen, that's your failure as a show creator. Griff, take it away from me before I get more angry because I feel it rising up.
Oh, I was waiting. You were just popping off, so I just let it happen. But, okay, the thing that I'm waiting for here is I need a good final confrontation moment. I need that to make the entire series and to, like, justify literally everything else. I need everything to be wrapped up. I need Luke here to take his lightsaber and go, no, I'm not going to fight you, Emperor. Tosses it away and say, like, I'm a Jedi. I need that shit at the end of this series. I need something that makes the conflict more directly the text, so I know what this was about, so I can talk about it in that way. I need to figure out where all of this philosophical musing is actually going, and that it means something, and it's not just, well, Ribbons is a little racist and now he's dead, and that's it. I need a little more than that.
Oh, yeah, I will say the show is not irredeemable. The show's not irredeemable. Yeah, they could pull it back in the next 2. Like I said, they've wasted 2 episodes of battle sequence to cut out everybody else. There are still a few people left, like
it's Gundam. They gotta give people what they want. They want to see giant robots fighting. That's what they came here for. They get it.
There's still the Innovades on Ribbon's side that are still like the trim of the fat on that side. So I guess maybe we have an episode to get them out of the way. Unless that happened this time, and I just kind of missed them dying.
But they could have been in the missiles. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
which would be hilarious.
More towards the end when everybody else was getting shot directly and then melee combat was happening. But shit, I had another thought there and I just can't remember it now.
It's all good. Let's just go ahead and wrap it up there. I think we've said enough, and we're gonna go ahead and watch the last bits of it next. So for right now, this has been Stoneface Reactions, everybody. I'm Griffin. That's Theta. We'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?